Ho, and welcome back to WFO's 12 Rigs at Christmas. Here I am walking through the woods again, and look at who I found. Jeff Renshaw and his CJ7. How's it going, Jeff?
Good, how are you guys?
Oh, pretty good. So this is one of my favorite OG WFO CJ7 builds. When did we build this for you?
WFO started it back in 2005.
And then these things don't happen overnight. It took a little bit of time. I think there was only 3 people there when we built this, right?
Yeah, it was just starting up, and so you were starting up, and we were starting a family, and so didn't mind taking it a little bit of time and pulled out of the shop in 2007.
And in true WFO fashion, we didn't really bring it to your house, did we? Where'd we go?
We picked it up on a Thursday, and Friday we were at the trailhead at Barrett. And we, like, within hours of driving it for the first time, I was on the trail.
And we were, you know, pulling tires in the air.
It was
having a good night.
It was an adventure.
We did it at night too, right?
We started, well, you told me to show up at 3, and I think we got going about 7 or 8 at night.
That's typical.
So, yeah,
that's typical.
Pretty typical.
And he hadn't really been out there wheeling before, and we put him right into the eye of the storm.
Yeah, it was a blast. Still to this day, one of our favorite trips.
It was a great trip.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you hop out and show us around this thing?
Okay. So it was, I mean, it started as a full project. We bought a frame.
And you had this when you were in Chico, right?
So that's the
I
other.
met Jeff in Chico.
The other part.
Another Chico guy, right?
The other part of the story is that everybody always told me I'd never find one that was going to be perfect for me, so we ended up starting by frame. So bought a frame from the junkyard off of Skyway up in Chico, and it kind of was, my wife called it the rolling paperweight, the jump from garage to garage when we were in college.
Finally, he called me up and said, it can't go to another house. I'm moving to Folsom.
Yep. I'm
dropping it off at your shop. Get it done, Trevor.
But at the first time Trevor saw it, it was a yellow Jeep on 35-inch boggers.
It had boggers, wide, 1450 boggers, super American. But
on
Bronco 44s.
Yep.
Not the right axle package, not the right engine package. So what did I tell you about all your stuff, Jeff?
We were basically starting over again.
And he'd invested a lot of money. I said, Jeff, you got to throw everything away.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is where it's ended up. And, you know, up front here, show us under the hood, Jeff.
Yeah.
So it didn't originally have this engine. We ended up building it to start with what did it have? Did it have Edelbrock injection?
Edelbrock fuel injection that we just never could figure out. So a couple years ago, swapped out to the 5.3.
And it's finally got to its happy place.
It's extremely happy.
Just our signature setup. We got Hydro Boost brakes.
Yep.
And this is a 5.3 LS,
5.3
right?
LS.
And one thing we always do, mechanical fan, stock shroud, stock radiator, and this thing finally runs cold, huh, Jeff?
Yep, it's beautiful. Yeah, York compressor on it. So
PSC steering. That's a cool thing on this too. Is actually Alan got that put on there, huh?
Yep.
So Alan, our other friend Alan, not Alan from the shop. So York air compressor, still has the ARB onboard air compressor.
Mm-hmm.
One of the really cool things about this build are the tube fenders. And you can see these. So my brother Bo actually built these from scratch.
Don't look too close underneath.
And they are full inside fender wells, full tube fender, got the drip rail. I mean, very classy look on this thing.
Yeah, you could buy the tube fender kits, but it just didn't fit right.
And Jeff said that's it. We're doing them for us.
We're doing it custom.
One of the other things too, you got the automatic transmission cooler up front now.
Yep.
When it was underneath, the thing would get hot all the time. Just moving it up here without adding a fan cooled it right off. Like we always do, Hanson front bumper, Warren winch, and just kept it simple. These are leaf springs. And then this is one thing when you had those Bronco axles and weird stuff going on, we decided to build it from a high pinion 44 front. So you can see its driver's side drop. It's got the armless high steer knuckles, Dana 44 high steer. What's this thing have, 488 gears, Jeff?
This is 488s.
Yeah, 488 gears, and it has the Rubicon Express 1.5" spring over reverse eye leaf springs. So it's still old school technology, but it's been working great for, I mean, how many years are we at? 15 years now?
Yep.
And it's gone on the Jeepers Jamboree every year, gone on Barrett Lake every year, till just recently he bought a buggy, so it's kind of the spare Jeep now. You got the PA for the CB, right?
I wanted to make sure you pointed that out.
Riley can make sure that he catcalls the ladies when he drives it to high school, right?
Yeah.
So this has one of our first shackle reversals on it, so we built that front spring hanger, and then as you can see, it sleeves right through the frame in the back. Keep it nice and low with spring over. That driveline's way tucked up out of the way. So you got 37-inch cam 3s on it now, right?
I do, yeah.
And your original Champion beadlocks were 15s, and that shows the age of this Jeep. They don't make 37s for a 15-inch rim anymore.
Yeah, the old Goodyear MTRs had to go eventually.
So he had to, step into the new age, into the 90s, and go with some Raceline beadlocks on this thing.
Yep.
Still has the old school Warren rockers. I love these, Jeff. I'm glad you let us keep these on here. And then underneath you can see our full cross member belly pan skid plate. And then as you swing to the rear, you can check out that Dynatrac Pro Rock 60. That's what we were doing back then. And you can see our torque arm added to the axle as well. The same Rubicon Express 1.5-inch spring over springs. And if you peek all the way up above the differential on the driveline, you can actually see the gas tank up there too. So this has one of our dogleg gas tanks, and that was pretty important, right, Jeff, to have that much fuel?
Yeah, at the time when the engine wasn't running right before the LS, we took every bit of 21 gallons.
So that Edelbrock projection was just sucking fuel. With the LS now, what do you?
It's nothing.
11 gallons to do the Rubicon?
At least, yeah.
We stretched the rear, but what do we got going here, Jeff?
That's a little TJ flare, if you will.
Absolutely, keeping it classy, right?
Yeah.
Old school CJ style. And then these, I believe, were off your rocker, 1/8-inch steel corners. You can't get these anymore. And then a couple LED round taillights to keep it classy. This is something that we did, and this was your request.
Yeah, I was always nervous about making sure I had enough fuel, so we have the full-on rack that's got
you got fuel, 5 gallons.
5 gallons there, and high lift mounted.
Everything's all disassembled and tucked in. This is part of what Jeff does for a living, is he makes things happen. And so back here, I remember doing this, full custom drawer, spare fuel pump, and with the CJ7, 2 kids and a family, you were always tight on space, huh, Jeff?
We had plenty of accessories to bolt on this too. We had a rack that went back behind the spare tire, had a roof rack on it.
You can see the back seat for the kids.
Yep.
You still have the roof rack, right?
Still have the roof rack. That was all 1-inch tube. Yeah, pretty cool.
So that's a nice way to get into the back of the Jeep, and still that's just a Hansen bumper, right?
Yep, just Hansen rear bumper and tire swing.
And this was one of our first roll cages where we actually had the bikini top built in. So why don't you walk around and show them the inside, Jeff?
Yeah, we before WFO speaker cans, so we went with the old before the.
Oh yeah, these are 6x9s.
Old 6x9s in there.
6x9s. You got a dome light.
Yep.
CB speaker.
Yep.
CB radio.
CB radio.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wait, does this still have a CD player?
It has a CD player in it.
Oh,
I had to
nice.
upgrade to Bluetooth though, finally. So.
One of the things Jeff was really adamant about, because when it had the 383 stroker, it had a 700 R4s. He wanted a nice console. So here you got the art car shifter. 1 beer holder though. That's a little lacking, huh?
Well,
you should talk to your builder about that.
Yeah. It only fits a certain size
flat
can.
dash,
So.
all the switches built in. Check these out. These are actually laser etched, all the labels for the lights. Headlights, front, back. We got, well, I think these are 5 sunk into the dash with tweeters. The stereo rocks in this thing, right?
It's not bad. Yeah.
Does this thing have a sub?
It does not have a sub.
Does not have a sub. And then once again, the Mojave heater, right?
Mojave heater. Yeah, but having the center console was the key to me. I just think it made the rig look a lot cleaner, look more modern, but same CJ style.
And then tell us what all these are.
That's a lot of shifting knobs. Yeah, and so one of the things that held up the build to begin with was I believe this has one of the first 4-speeds from Atlas.
So this has an Atlas 4-speed. That's the high-low shifter.
Yep.
And then these are just the standard Atlas.
So
knobs. And it's cable shifters.
Cable shifters.
Yep. I believe that was like the very first.
It was one of the very first. It was the first one at WFO. I know that
for sure. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's not even working right now, right?
We don't use the underdrive.
The cotter pin that holds the high-low cable popped off about 4 years ago.
You don't really need it.
We haven't got to that yet because the Atlas is 3.8 as well, so you don't really need 10-to-1.
Yep.
Other than that, I mean, it doesn't really get any better than this. This is just a classic CJ7, and it is fun to drive. And Jeff, you did drive it to the trail all the time,
I used to drive it to the trail all the time, and then finally just got old.
He got rich and got a diesel truck. That's what happened.
Yeah, still paying for it. Yeah.
He always used to say, Trevor, I got to drive up there. And I would drive up there too, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, these kids these days, they tow up there all the time.
I know, cheaters.
Yeah, no, we did it the real way.
So Trevor, talking about keeping it real, we got a little gift for Santa in the back of the old Jeep for you.
Where would that be exactly?
Right back there, buddy.
Oh boy, what a treat. Look at that, Boone Strawberry Hill. What's the significance of this, Jeff?
Well, you go ahead and you enjoy that for a second there, Santa. I know it's been a long trip for you. Every year on Jamboree, we make sure that we bring Trevor breakfast in bed, laying nicely tucked away in his tent, nice icy cold bottle of Boone Strawberry Hill every morning.
When you're on the Rubicon, there isn't an IHOP anywhere near, so this is the next best thing.
There you go.
And Jeff and his wife Britt have been serving these in bed every year, and it's the only way I get through. Well, thanks for showing us your rig. I hope you guys enjoyed another one of WFO's 12 Rigs of Christmas. Remember the code 12 Rigs, get you 12% off for the rest of the year. Later.
Merry Christmas.